Hey, and welcome to another episode of Classic Boat Rescue. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time. If you're not into hacking, or if you're not into like electronics or any of that kind of stuff, or even something remotely related to that kind of thing, you might want to just like move on to the next video. Because this is about something interesting, but to perhaps a limited audience. All right, look at this thing over here. This I just got from eBay. It is Zenith transistor radio from the 60s. And it's kind of green and grayish green, and it's kind of the same color as my boat. And what I'm going to propose to do, since it's not working, this thing is dead as a doornail, and I used the meter to try to make it work. I tried to figure out where the short was or where the problem was. You know, it's getting current. I just don't see it working. I tested out the speaker, I wiggled it, I shaked it. It's not working. So what I propose to do is take this Bluetooth pod speaker and somehow get this sucker mounted in this case. And you can see, I just like pull the handle down here somehow. It's hard to do this with one hand. Oh God, no. Well, anyway, as you can see, this guy's a little bit bigger. It's kind of too big. To actually just like drop it in and close it, close the clamshell. Not going to work. So what am I going to do? I take this apart, and I'm going to take this guy apart here. There are little screws at the bottom. So this thing will come apart in two pieces. Separate it and maybe mount the printed circuit board somewhere over here. Mount the speaker, obviously, where the speaker grill is. And then close the two together. Now, what I'll do is I'll run a USB port right here where the old earphone jack used to be, so that I could charge it up. And, well, we're going to find out. It's unfortunate. This thing is built like a brick shit house. I took it apart, and it's got something like 7 transistors. It has a really nice tuning capacitor. It's really built well. After all, it is a Zenith. And they were state-of-the-art back then. They were incredibly good. Whoa. Incredibly good radios. These guys, you know, we were top of the line. They're like the Cadillac, Rolls-Royce, Mercedes of radios at the time. I hate to do this. I really want to keep it in one piece. We have a good oldies AM radio station up here that would really do the trick in my old boat if I just had this hanging in there. But it's not working. So what we're going to do is take it apart. I've already taken the liberty of, now it goes, unscrewing the screws and taking the knobs off, which is really hard to do with one hand and looking at the camera. I've taken the liberty of taking the screws out, taking the knobs off, and getting it ready for this video. So let's take this apart. Oh, the antique radio and collectible radio guys, the purists, are right now cursing me out for even contemplating doing this. It's just not done. You know, unless it's an end-of-line thing, and then you blow up the radio. They call it EOL. Or end-of-line, EOL. When you get rid of something, you just blow it up, burn it up, destroy it, crush it with a sledgehammer. But I'm not doing that. The purists will hate me for this. Yeah, there's a speaker. But yeah, I mean, if you know anything about electronics, take a look at this guy. This thing is built like a brick shithouse. Really good components, really well made. Like I said, the tuning capacitor is built really well. Look at that. That's the tuning capacitor right there. I mean, it's really great. I don't want to, but look, I've got batteries in it. I tried it. Like I said, it's got 7 transistors in it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 transistors in this baby. Is that 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's 7. It's 7. But it's incredibly nice. And luckily, the way it comes out of the housing is easy and non-destructive. So I just pulled it out in one piece, and it's out. So I can just take this, put it away until my skills get better. I put it right there. And fix it perhaps later. What does that leave us with? It leaves us with this here clamshell. Okay. How do I make this speaker fit? Here's a speaker. Take a look at this. This is more than just a speaker. It actually has a radio in it, and it also has a port for an SD card in it. There's a port. Doesn't really matter. It's got a port in it. Let's just say that. It's got a port in it for an SD card so you could load up your own music. And I got cats in the background screaming. It's dinner time for the cats over here. So yeah, if you look. Alright, cats calm down. I think they got fed finally, so back to this. Where were we? So yeah, you can see it's not gonna fit. There's a huge difference there. So next step is I'm gonna take this guy here, and remove them screws. Horrible light. Sorry about the light. I'm at my coffee table. Just seemed like an apt place to do this. This is where I do most of my debauchery when it comes to this kind of hacking. So anyway, we're going to take these screws out. And I can't do that with one hand. So I'll take them out. And I'll get back to you as soon as I separate this sucker. And we're going to see what's inside. And we're going to see how this works. Alright, the deed is done. So guess what? I took those 3 screws out of the bottom there, and it did nothing but reveal the printed circuit board for the controls over here and the little volume ring right here. That's all it did. It didn't show me anything about removing or separating the housing from the speaker and the printed circuit board or any of that good stuff. And you kind of need to keep the housing for the volume control because it's sort of like a ring that you turn, that you rotate. So that's not going to do me any good. I keep chasing the light here and it's driving me crazy. But anyhow. So the deal is you have to take off the speaker grill and go in from the top. And then what you have to do is you have to take a little screwdriver and run all the way around the edge of the speaker because it's glued in. And once you do that, okay, the speaker pops out, and it's got a huge magnet. No wonder it's got such good fidelity. It's got a huge magnet, and the speaker cone itself is made out of a rubber material, so that's going to be pretty durable. So I'm looking forward to finishing this off. I mean, it sounded pretty good before I did this to it, and hopefully it'll still sound good. So what I'm going to have to do is, right there, desolder those 2 connections. Damn it, this light. Desolder these 2 connections, remove the speaker, and then I'm going to have to take the housing and cut it around this edge here with a hacksaw or something and sort of like get it down to that level. Now what I'll do is I'll mount this part upside down like that inside the clamshell of the old radio, and then the speaker will be mounted face up towards that grill part right there, and I'll kind of glue it in place because obviously it needs to be glued. It was glued while it was in this housing. It's going to have to be glued in that housing. So let's rock on in, and I'll show you where I've gone when I'm done. Okay, hold on. Well, I solved the lighting problem. Charged the phone up a little bit, and now we have lighting by virtue of the cell phone camera. Alright, so here we are. I cut the two pieces in half that held the housing for that speaker. But the deal was, it was not something you want to do with a hacksaw. It's steel. It's steel or aluminum. It's solid metal. So I wound up using a cutting wheel on an angle grinder. Cutting wheel and angle grinder to get that off. Yeah, it was pretty nasty. Yeah, it was rough. I threw some sparks. I felt like I was on an episode of Gas Monkey Garage. It is steel, look. That's a steel housing. And that sucker's about a 1/4 inch thick. Yeah, I felt like I was on an episode of Gas Monkey Garage using the angle grinder, throwing sparks, but I thought I'd spare you that. I mean, you've seen sparks getting thrown by an angle grinder a million times. So anyway, I might be able to put the standard speaker back in its housing like that. And maybe glue it in there like that. No, I don't think I could do that. We're getting away in the, getting in the, am I getting away that screw there? See that screw? That's gotta hold the unit together, I think. I don't know. No, I can't put it there. Nope. This whole thing has to be mounted. I don't know, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Still have the other screw. Can I hold it together with one screw? I don't know. Maybe I'll put a hinge on here or something like that. But anyway, we got this guy here. Now see, again, the other mounting screw's up there where that guy wants to be. Now it's going to have to go on the other part of the clamshell. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, there's the other part of the clamshell. And the guts would go there, kinda, sorta, I guess. And the speaker would need to go, I guess. Maybe we'll leave it in its housing because it needs some kind of solid mount for the speaker to work properly. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna take this, put the speaker somewhere like there, and this magnet's gonna hold it in place. So I can't. Come on, stupid magnet. Nope, ain't gonna work either. So I'm gonna have to like glue it somehow to the speaker grill. That's doable. That's kind of doable. Actually, this would mount this way, so I would have access to the controls. These are the controls right here. And where's the USB port? There's the USB port. So we're going to want the USB port somewhere running in that direction. I'm going to have to run a wire from the USB port somehow to where the earphone plug used to be. So let's see. I mean, they'll fit. It's going to work. Okay, so let me monkey around with this and I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, here's what I figured out. I'm back. Hi. Here's what I figured out. It's going to fit just like this. And I had to break out the angle grinder again and a grinding wheel. And I had to make a notch right there for that little tab. Because I want to keep that tab. It's riveted in to the plastic housing, and it also holds this tower, this mounting stalk, let's call it. And that's going to interface with that notch I ground out. So, this speaker is made of a magnet, and this thing is made of steel. Sorry about my hand. Let's move hands. Let's go this way. So, yeah, so that's going to interface with that notch right there. It's going to go in there. I'm using the camera as my eyes. Okay. And that way we'll have a USB port right there. And I'll run a wire to where the earphone jack used to be, and that'll work nice. And then on the opposite side, I got the little interface for the SD card, so I can still get a hold of that. And then here are the speaker wires, and I'll solder them back on. And then I'll hot glue, or I'll get some RTV or some kind of caulk and glue that in there like that, so it stays flexible. I'm going to need something like a flexible kind of adhesive, like RTV or some kind of caulk would be ideal. I don't want to use any kind of like super glue, which usually doesn't work anyway in most things I find. Let's see, where are the there are the lugs for the speaker, and they can go there, and they can go there. I won't even need to extend the wires with like a pigtail or make them longer. I think I could just use the original wires at their original length. That would be pretty sweet. Alright, I think that's going to be good. And let's see, it should fit. I'm not going to lie to you, I tried it. It does fit. It kind of goes something like... I'm doing this through the eyes of the camera, so it's not that easy, but there it is. Bang. It fits. It fits right in there. Boom. Perfect. And then what I'll do, where the knobs used to be, I'll just kind of like hot glue them in place, kind of like dummy knobs. I'll just tell my friends, oh, don't turn the knobs. You don't want to turn the knobs. I'll dummy them in place, sort of like that. Kind of like hot glue them in so I could remove them if I ever want to replace the original chassis. Damn it. Like that. And I'll hot glue them in. And then, ta-da. Alright. I'll come back when I've gone a little further with this thing. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to show you the reveal. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Whoa! It almost dropped you there. Okay, what I did is... Oh, it's in there tight. It really is going to be a tight fit. What I did was I soldered on the speaker wires. There you go. I soldered them on. And they're ready to go. And it fits really well in the notch. And then what I decided to do was I'm going to use the original grill. The original grill from the housing that we cut off. There's the original housing that we cut off. And that's where the speaker used to sit. Right there. The speaker used to sit right in there. Pop the housing or the grill off. And then you have to like take the glue off the edge of this speaker very carefully with a screwdriver, peel that off, and it popped out. Speaker pops out. Alright, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the original speaker grill and use it as sort of like an intermediate kind of an interface between the speaker and the radio housing, so it's not just stuck square on to the plastic of the radio housing, because the speaker needs to move in and out, up and down as it plays like bass notes. It actually does move. This thing actually is somewhat powerful for its size, so not bad at all. Okay, that's how far we've gotten so far. So the next step is going to be the glue. Also, what I did was I got the USB wire to test out how it's going to fit, and there's the USB wire there, and it's going to fit. Hold on a minute, it's hard to do with one hand. I got the right way. It's got to go in that way. Let's see. USB wire will go. It's exciting television here. Exciting drama. Will it go in? Will it go in? Will it go in? Well, you get the idea. It's going to go in there like that. And it's going to fit perfectly. It's actually going to work. And you'll see it in the reveal. I'll show it to you when it goes together. I'm going to clean it up, scrub it down, polish it up a little bit, and show you guys what it looks like, and I'm going to show you how it sounds in the cabinet, radio cabinet, and I'll be back when I get a little further. Okay, hold on. Go get yourself a beer. Okay, so here we go. Let's finalize what we've done here. All right, I used contact cement. I used DAP Weldwood contact cement, and I glued the main body, the control unit, down over here, up high, and then, like I said, I glued the original speaker grill from the Bluetooth speaker down on top of the speaker grill on the housing of the vintage radio, and then I glued with the same contact cement the speaker onto that speaker grill. That worked. Then over here you can see I got the USB plug plugged into the main body of the unit, and then over here where the earphone jack used to be, I've got the USB plug coming out so that I could charge this baby up when I'm not using it, and then unplug it, take this out of here, and then close it up when I'm out on the water and it's hanging from the boat. Yeah, it works. I gave it a test run before I started filming, and yeah, the sucker works. So, and it fits really well. So let's put it together. Obviously, I'm filming on my cell phone, so I can't do anything Bluetooth off the cell phone. But you know, it's got that right there. It's got that USB port, or not a USB port, rather a SD card port, and I put in the SD card from my old cell phone, and it's got lots of MP3s loaded in that SD card. So what we're gonna do is listen to some music from the SD card. There are the controls, on and off, and then you have a plus and minus for volume. This thing also acts as a radio. It has an FM tuner built into it as well. It's crazy. This little unit was given to me for free. It was free. My friend got it as a promo when he went to a convention for Chevrolet dealers, and it was free. So it's amazing, and it really sounds pretty good. I'm going to play it for you so you get an idea of what we're talking about here. I told you I'd give you the final finished product. Oh, look at that. Filth. Don't mind me. It's my coffee table at home. It's going to get filthy, especially if you do hacks all over it all the time in your spare time. Another thing I want to show you before I close it up, close the clamshell up. Look at this. This was the original kind of like battery instructions back here. And the instructions for removing the chassis. You know, I really feel bad that I had to take this thing apart and take out the chassis, but it's not working. And you know, what am I going to do? There's just so much I can do. If it had worked, and if it was in repairable shape with my expertise, I would have done it. I wouldn't have done this to it, but it's not working. I don't know what to do, and I used this glue, which is sort of like flexible and removable with lacquer thinner. So if I get better at fixing these babies, I will put it back together, and I'll put this hack in something else. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's put the clamshell back on here. You know, we really need to start it up first. See, now if it was being run off of a Bluetooth phone, I wouldn't have to do all this. I wouldn't have to mess with the volume, or I wouldn't have to mess with the skipping of songs to the next song and all that stuff. It would be done through the cell phone. But, you know, in this circumstance, like I said, since I'm on my cell phone filming this, I'm going to have to do this kind of like manually. So I'll turn it on. There's the on-off switch right there. Let's see if I can get it going. Exciting video. Get a little prompt. Excellent. And the little volume controls are ring built into the body of the main unit, and you could raise it and lower it if you want to. But what I would do is I would just blast the thing, and I would control the volume through my phone. But anyway, it sounds really good. It's pretty good for what it is, and it's really kind of loud for what it is. I'm really super surprised. All right, so this goes on there like that. It's actually pretty badass. Now I screwed it together with. It's got 2 screws to hold the back on. I used 1 screw in the top there, and it works. It doesn't need any more than the 1 screw. And you can loosen it and tighten it with a dime. I think that was the intention, that you could loosen it up and take off the back of the clamshell with a dime as a screwdriver, so that the average person who doesn't have a screwdriver handy can use it as a screwdriver or something like that. I'm rambling. Sorry, man. Sorry. Oop, look, it's falling apart. Hold on. We'll get it back together. Let's properly get it back together. There you go. It almost sounds like the bass improves when you put the cover on the back. Yeah, so I used contact cement to kind of like glue the dials back on and make them look like they belong there. They won't fall off. They're on there pretty hard, pretty solid. And like I said, the USB cord can be unplugged once the battery is charged. The battery is kind of low on this now, so I kind of have to keep the battery going. Actually, I'm probably going to get a hit from YouTube for having this music playing. I hope not. Well, if I do, I'll repost it with no music on it all. Anyway, this is Classic Boat Rescue. Hope you like this. Please subscribe, comment, and share. Have a good one. Bye-bye.